everyone, and welcome to this month's GUIDEcx office hours. We are so excited to be back with you again. My name is Stacy Hatch. I am a product marketing manager here at GUIDEcx, and the team has been hard at work this month and months prior, building out new features and functionality that will help make your teams more efficient through automation. We have a fantastic team here to speak with you today. We have Jeff, Cameron, and Elon. And some are new faces that you may not recognize. Some have been here before. So I wanted to just give them each a minute to introduce themselves to you, starting with Jeff.
Hi, my name is Jeff Johnson. I've been with GUIDEcx for several years, and I focus on technical solutions for integrations.
Hi, my name is Cameron Crossett. I'm a product manager here at GUIDEcx. Love being on another office hours with all of you. And I work with the team that tries to support you, our providers. That's our main focus is the application as it relates to you and how you use it.
Hi, everyone. My name is Elon Minez. This is the first time I've ever been to these Guide office hours. I'm super excited to be here with you. I'm the manager of customer empowerment. That entails training, support, and community, which we'll talk about later.
Thanks, guys. We're going to kick things off today with Jeff, our integration specialist, talking about dependencies that allow you to adjust dependency logic and customize those workflows within GUIDEcx, just giving your teams more flexibility. He'll also be talking about our new Slack integration that will be coming out this week, and Teams integration that hopefully you saw we released a couple weeks ago, and the ability that gives your teams to communicate more efficiently in the channels where they're already spending time and working. And then Cam will talk about our new team members header and then some product enhancements that you may have seen or may have missed. And we'll round things out with Elon talking about our recently launched Onboarding Network and the value that if you're spending time in there and engaging with the questions and content, that you'll really be able to bring power and powerful insights to your team to continue to improve. So we'll kick things off with Jeff.
All right. Well, thank you, Stacy. So I'm going to start off talking about some new integrations we've published recently related to dependencies and enhancing the native capabilities that GUIDEcx itself has. So you can use a recipe builder not only for integrating GUIDEcx with other products like Salesforce, HubSpot, Zendesk, so forth, but you can also use recipe builder to just add additional functionality to GUIDEcx itself, kind of customizing the entire product. So we've recently published 3 recipes dealing with dependencies, setting dependencies across templates, setting multiple dependencies on a task, and implementing a finish to start lag dependency. So let's walk through how those work. So here's a use case for dependencies across templates. So it's a very simple example. You have 2 templates on a project, and I have a task in template 1 called configure server for customer. So when somebody on my team marks this task done, what I would like to have happen is that this other task, which just happens to be on a different template called setup training, I want it to go live. And by going live, that means that the task assignment email is going to be sent to the assignee, and they know they can start working on this task. And traditionally, to have setup training to be dependent on this other configure server task, they have to be in the same template. With Recipe Builder, we now have some additional capabilities here. So what's the solution? So you go into your template and you just add what we call a gate task in front of that second task in my example here. So we're going to want setup training to go live automatically. So we're going to add a gate task right above it. And I'm going to make the setup training task dependent on this gate task. So you can imagine if on a project, somebody were to come in and manually go and mark this gate task done, that would make the setup training task go live. So you just one time go and edit your template to add this gate task to it. And then when you're actually on a project and you have the recipe running, when a user marks the first task done, which was the configure server task, then automatically the recipe detects that and then goes and marks the gate task done on the same project, and that automatically makes the setup training go live. So let's see how this works actually in the wild. So I've got, that's a very simple example. Now this could work across, you could have 5 templates, 10 templates, whatever on the project. These 2 tasks could be in any template in any order. But here are those 2 tasks, my example. I have configure server for customer. When I mark this one done, I want setup training to go live. You can tell that setup training is not active, not live right now, because its little dependency icon here is got a red dot next to it, and the start and due dates are kind of gray. So if I come in here, mark this done, then I'm going to come over to template 2. And then what we should see is poof. Okay, after a few seconds, the recipe detected the first task was marked done, and then automatically just went and found the appropriate gate task, marked it done itself. And you can see now the dependency icon, it's got a little green dot next to it, the start and due date or darker font. And so we know that setup training has just gone live. The assignee has gotten an email saying they can get started to work, and it all happened automatically. You didn't have to do any manual configuration in the project. So let's go back and show you the next amazing thing we got going here. Okay, so another example would be multitask dependencies. So this is a case where you have a task that you want to be dependent on multiple other tasks. So we've always had the ability to implement this by placing all of the tasks in one milestone. So in this example, I have a task called grant access, and I want it to go live when all 3 of these other tasks are completed. So solutions we've had for the beginning of the company is basically put them all in the same milestone. So if you put all of these tasks in the same milestone and you make grant access dependent on the milestone, well, then this will implement multitask dependencies. Last year, we came out with the concept of task groups. So that implemented additional functionality and additional flexibility. So now with task groups, you can just place those 3 tasks in their own group within a milestone. And then grant access here is dependent upon the task group. So that gave you some more flexibility. You don't have to put all the 3 tasks in their own milestone. You can just put them in their own task group. But now this year with Recipe Builder, we've added in a 3rd option. So by leveraging Recipe Builder, you can place these 3 tasks anywhere you want. So in this example, I'm just showing them spread across 3 different milestones. They could be in different templates and so forth. And this recipe uses the same concept of the last example. It uses this concept of a gate task. And what it does is in your template, you would add a gate task right in front of grant access. And then what the recipe is doing is it's listening for these 3 tasks to be marked done. And it automatically detects when the 3rd of those tasks is marked done. It doesn't matter which order they're marked done. So as soon as all 3 of them are done, recipe detects that, marks as gate task done, and that makes the task you care about, grant access, go live. And then the final dependency related integration we're going to talk about today is how you can integrate or implement a finish to start with lag dependency. So what does that mean? Look at this example here. What we want to do is we have a task called kickoff call. And when it's marked done, we would like a 2-day lag to take place before the next task, create user account, starts. And when this create user account starts, its task assignment email gets sent out. So how can we implement that? So the solution is you're going to put inside of your template a lag task. Now, it's using the same concept as the previous 2 examples where we called it a gate task, but really in all cases, whether we call it a gate task or a lag task, it's a task you're putting into your template that the recipe is going to mark done automatically for you. So you're going to place a lag task in between these 2 tasks. and give it the duration of whatever lag you want. So in this example, we wanted a 2-day lag between kickoff call completing and create user account starting. And then we're going to make the create user accounts task dependent on this lag task. Okay, so we do that one-time change in our template. And then what happens on a real project, you're going to mark the first task done. And as soon as you do that, kickoff call is marked done. The recipe is going to then automatically 2 days later mark the lag task done. And then that, once again, makes the task you really care about go live. So in your template, you could just add these lag tasks wherever you want. You can make the duration 1 day, 2 days, 10 days, whatever. And then the one recipe, there's no configuration at all required in that recipe. You just go turn it on. And it's constantly, every morning, it's going to check across your projects for any of these tasks that have parentheses lag task in their name. And when it finds them, it says, okay, is that task due today? And if it is, it marks it done. And so you come to work in the morning and your the task you care about, create user accounts, is already live. This task assignment email has been sent out. So that's 3 different recipes that we've recently written and we've published to the community. And we have terrific knowledge base articles on them. So if you go to help.guidecx.com, you can find out all about how to download these recipes and get them going in no time for yourself.
Jeff, I love seeing this. I love that you're able to really customize how you want to build out your workflows and how you want your tasks and milestones to kind of feed off of each other. There was a comment that was made that I just wanted to call out so everyone on the call made sure that they could see as well, that they had no idea that there was actually a way to distinguish when a task is live. Would you mind going back into GUIDEcx just so that everyone can see kind of that red dot with the cross through on a task versus the green dot? It's good feedback that it is a little bit hard to see. So I just wanted to make sure everyone knew that that was a functionality and feature in GUIDEcx.
Yeah, so I think every time I've ever pointed this out to somebody, they go, oh, wow, that's awesome. So here's a task. You have this little icon. Another little hidden feature is that this icon actually is a different shape depending upon whether a task is dependent upon another task. If it's dependent upon another task, this icon is a rectangle. Well, tasks are rectangles. This task over here is dependent upon a milestone, so it's got a chevron shape. Well, milestones have chevron shapes. And so you'll see the same thing if it's dependent upon a task group. It looks like a task group. So the red dot means that the tasks are not live. And also, it's a little subtle, but you can see that the start and due dates are gray while they're a little darker black here. There's this task right here has no dependency at all, so it goes live as soon as its start date is met.
Perfect. Thank you. And then Jill had a question also. She said, are the lag days start at the time you marked the first task as done, or is it whole days? The question is, do the lag days start at the time you mark the first task as done, or is it complete full days?
So when you mark a task done, if you mark it done on July 1st, and then there's a lag task after it of 1 day, then the lag task is due on July 2nd. And so the next morning, the recipe would mark that one done. And the task you care about would go live. So you just have to kind of think through, like in general, within a task, a duration of 0 means the task is due the same day it goes live. A duration of 1 means it's due at the end of the next day, the next business day. But so if you think through how long you want the lag to be, then you can adjust the duration in your template.
Thanks, Jeff.
But if you want it to be 1 day, make the duration 1 day. If you want the lag to be 1 day. All right, so
a question from Will. Sorry, Jeff.
Yep.
Can the lag task recipe ignore weekends?
Well, it does. It acts the same way as GUIDEcx normally would act, which is that if a task is due on a Friday and if you add a lag that pushes it out a day, or let's say it's due on a Thursday, and then you add a 2-day lag. Well, it's not going to make the task due on a Saturday. It's going to push it out to the Monday, to 2 business days. So it acts the same way as intuitively as GUIDEcx itself traditionally acts.
Perfect. Thank you. Great questions, guys. Thanks for putting them in the chat.
Okay, so yes, a lot of great interest there in dependencies. So now let's talk about communicating through different channels. So traditionally, GUIDEcx communicates via in-app notifications and via email. So for example, if you get a task assignment, then you'll receive an email with all the information about the task. You have buttons in the email that says, oh, I can mark it via the email that I'm done, that I'm working on it, I'm stuck. But we would like to enable you to communicate with your teammates and your customers in the channel of your choice, their choice. So with Recipe Builder, we're enabling the ability to communicate via Slack, via Teams, and other things that will be coming out with in the near future. So now you can do things like have task assignments sent via Slack or via Microsoft Teams. You can have notes from GUIDEcx be forwarded to Slack, forwarded to Teams. So the first example of this I'm going to talk about is going to be task assignments. But the big news here is that we're publishing this week 6 new integrations that are related to Slack. So I'm going to focus the rest of my time here on what these do. So the first is task assignments. So the way this integration works is if you just open up a task and then go into the notes section and you add a hashtag Slack assign, then what happens is Recipe detects that note has been added, and it goes and automatically sends a direct message in Slack to the assignee of the task. So it's sent it to their direct message channel, and it has all the information about the task that normally you'd have. So here's the name of the task, the due date, what project it's on, the task description, and really neat, there's these 3 buttons on the bottom. So the assignee of the task, they can right there in Slack, click on one of these 3 buttons and update the actual status of the task in GUIDEcx itself. So let me show you how this works. So I am in a project here, and let's say that I come into a task, and I'm going to add a note on this task. And all I have to do is say Slack assign. Doesn't even have to be the right capitalization if I don't want. And then let's see what happens. Okay. 2 seconds later, right here in Slack, I have a message here. It says, hi, here's the Slack. Here's
Hey, Jeff, just so you know, we're not seeing your Slack. I think just
thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna share my entire desktop. Okay, so now here we are. Okay, so hopefully you can see it now. Okay, so here we are in Slack, and we have the task assignment has been sent. It took about a second. It says, okay, here's the name of the task. Here's the name of the project. Here's when it's due. Here's the full task description. And then you have these buttons. So the task is called Conduct Kickoff Meeting. So keep an eye over here on the left, back in GUIDEcx. There's the equivalent task. So let's say I'm starting to work on this. I can click on this button down here in Slack, says I'm starting to work on it. Recipe detects that, and look, it's automatically updated the status of the task to working on it. Then let's say that I continue to work on it. Said, oh no, I'm stuck. So this is taking longer than I thought. So when I click on I'm stuck, okay, back in GUIDEcx, status changes. Also, the status is changing. If you noticed over here in Slack itself, it's telling me here what I last selected. But when I selected that I'm stuck, another thing happens. The project manager on this project, he gets a Slack message telling him somebody is stuck on a task on your project. So it says here, hey, project manager, this conduct kickoff meeting task on this particular project is stuck, and here's the assignee, go help them out. And then let's say that they resolve whatever their issue is, and the assignee comes back in and then clicks, they click on I'm done. Then they're going to be able to mark the task done in Slack. And you notice right here, automatically in GUIDEcx, a few seconds later, the task is marked done in GUIDEcx.
Awesome, Jeff. A question came in from Jill. Can you reply with a note on the task like you can via email?
Yeah, so we have two different, our Microsoft Teams integration also does task assignments, and our Slack integration does task assignments. So right now the Teams integration will allow you to type in a note in Teams and have it go back to Slack. We haven't currently implemented the same thing, excuse me. In Microsoft Teams, you can add a note, it goes back to GUIDEcx. And right now in the Slack integration, we don't have that particular feature, but we might have that in the future. So you can add a note in Slack and go back to it.
Yeah, Jill, it's definitely when we're talking about what's interesting with the GUIDEcx recipe builder is the flexibility to customize those workflows. So that would just be an easy customization if you took a look at what we have for Teams and Community and taking that same functionality and implementing it into Slack, but it is also one that's on our list to add to these integrations.
All right, so that's task assignments via Slack. I'm going to real quickly to show you a couple of other integrations that we're releasing this week. So one is the ability to create a dedicated Slack channel for each new GUIDEcx project. So you create a new GUIDEcx project, then automatically the integration will create a dedicated Slack channel with the same name. And if you like, you can even take all the team members on the project and invite them automatically to that Slack channel. So now you have a dedicated Slack channel for this project, but then what do you do with that? So you can have notes from GUIDEcx automatically forwarded to that dedicated Slack channel. So here we're in the project. We add a note to the project, and if we include the hashtag Slack, then that note will be automatically forwarded over to Slack with all the information about it, like, there's a note on a project. Here's the name of the project. Here's the contents, who created it. And if you've noticed in all these different Slack examples, there's like the title of the message is usually in blue. It's actually clickable. So if you click on this blue titles in any of these Slack messages, it takes you into GUIDEcx, opens up a new tab, takes you to the project. And in this case, down here on the bottom, I've gone into a task, added a note, added the Slack hashtag. And so not only in Slack do I get a nicely formatted message with the contents of that task note, if I click on this blue link here, it actually opens up, GUIDEcx opens up that specific task. And also, not only can you have these messages, these notes go to that dedicated project channel in Slack, if you add a colon and then a nickname, you can have the messages sent over to somebody's direct Slack channel. So if you look real close, you can see what I added here was #Slack:*Kirk. So the recipe to text that, it'll send it to the dedicated Slack channel, the project, but it also looks up what Kirk's dedicated direct message channel is in Slack and sends it there too. So you have a lot of flexibility in how this integration works. And then finally, you can have important updates about your project sent to Slack. So let's say you have certain tasks on your project that are very important to you. Well, and when any of them get updated, have a message sent over to Slack saying, hey, this kickoff call has been marked done on this particular project. Or what if the project goes late? Okay, project goes late, recipe detects that automatically, sends a Slack message out that this project went late. And these could be configured to do different things. It could be, whatever sort of scenario that you would like to detect that when a change happens on your project, send out a Slack message wherever you like.
Thanks so much, Jeff. A lot is happening with integrations, as you guys can tell. So thanks to Jeff and team for making it happen. A couple questions came in. Mark, I think Jeff answered your question that you can send that note or notification into Slack to an individual in a direct message or also a channel. And then we also had a question from Meredith. Is there a way to ignore holidays or have a holiday calendar for projects?
Oh, okay. I think that's a different topic. It doesn't automatically do that, so that would be a different topic about like how to block off days and so forth. But
Sure.
the integration does not automatically do that.
Okay, let's keep
All right.
moving.
Let's turn it over to Cameron.
Sweet. Well, Jeff is a hard act to follow because he was bringing the heat today with his integrations, but I'm glad I'm on his team. And let's get to some product updates. So let me go here. Okay, so I've been working with my team on this brand new updated header that we've got inside of the projects within GUIDEcx. And so as we've looked at what makes us different and what makes you successful, kind of on a large scope, the thing that sets us apart from other project management tools or other onboarding tools is our ability to try to bring people together. You really see that with everything that Jeff just showed, with integrating with other tools that you use. We want people talking, we want people communicating, and in order for a lot of those recipes and the functionality that we have inside of GUIDEcx to be impactful, we have to get those messages delivered to the right people. And so as we've looked at the data, we've seen that projects that have 5 or more customers added have a 90% on-time delivery rate. And we thought to ourselves, if we've got something that is that powerful, let's make sure that we make that as easy as possible and surface that. And so you've probably seen that this add team member button, we plucked that up out of the team tab, and we just have that as a header that is across all of that. I'm going to do a demo here. Let's see. Get out of presentation mode, and we come over here. So in the past, you would have to go to team, and then we had everything that you would do with adding team members. We've moved that up here, and so regardless of which tab I'm on, I could be over here on the activity log and wanting to check something there. This has a lot of data in it, so that's just loading there. If I wanted to add a team member from right here, though, I realize, hey, somebody's not on here. I can click Add Team Member. It takes me to the Teams tab with the drawer open, ready to go. I can add whatever customer I need to. If there's someone on your internal team that hasn't been added, feel free to do that as well. But the main reason is we see success on a large scale as we look at the data of all the projects that get run through GUIDEcx. And we want to share those insights with you and try to help you have your projects go better and be more powerful. And so, yeah, that's there. You always have the project manager up here to know who's running this. You've got the names of everybody that's been added, and yeah, please use it. We're excited for it. There's a few other enhancements I want to talk about just briefly. This one has, we've got 3 other things. We have attachments in Compass now. So my good friend Phil Wood, he's the PM over this, and he has made it to where he and his team have attachments now in Compass. And so this is a very, very clean way to go through, have your customers interact, give them basically on a silver platter exactly what they need. You're able to kind of cut through some of the busyness that sometimes is associated with the plan view and give them this Compass experience that is very direct for them. And we now have attachments in there that those can be accessed. This one of API status change reasons. This one's near and dear to my heart. Because status change reasons is one of the things that I worked on early on here in my career at GUIDEcx. And as much as I love it, we knew that there were things that you wanted to do with it. And so that has now been made accessible in the API so that you can pull that into your own reporting. You can use it in your data analytics and your business intelligence platforms and kind of go crazy with it. I will make one quick note on that. This is only pulling the most recent, like it is pulling what is currently there on your status change reason of your group and reason. It is not a historical. And so just putting that out there, that's one question that has come up already. Some of that historical stuff does live within the reports of GUIDEcx. And then the last thing, this came from Chris and the labs team working on this note redesign. This one I love. We have notes and they get used all the time, but sometimes it is a little cumbersome to find exactly what you're looking for. So we've added some new filtering and search capabilities, and I just want to show you that as well. I could come here to my notes, and as a reminder, we've got our beautiful header up here that you can access at any point. But in here, maybe I want to just look at my task notes. I can do that. Or if I want to look at my project notes, I can be over there. And my search up here, this is one of my favorite. Let's say I want to find the one about training and see what I said about that. So there's my training. Sorry, I can't type today. There's my training. I had one for onboarding, and you've got your visibility filters and all of that as well. So really cool stuff from Chris. So apologize, I went too long. I just love talking about GUIDEcx and all the stuff that our teams do. But I'm going to turn it over to Elon.
All right. Thank you, Cameron. I love that new notes feature. I love all of it, everything that's been shared so far. And as I mentioned earlier, my whole role here at GUIDEcx is to help everyone that uses GUIDEcx to be able to use it and get the most value out of it. I was a project manager or onboarding manager for a number of years, and I managed everything in spreadsheets. I had no idea where any projects were, but then I met GUIDEcx, and you could say it was love at first sight. And so hopefully a lot of you guys feel that way as well. So my role now is helping not just everyone on this call, but your teams as well get better at using GUIDEcx and thus better at their job. And so yeah, without further ado, one way that I'm able to kind of live that mission or accomplish that mission is by launching this community, and we call it the Onboarding Network. It's essentially a community built by onboarders for onboarders. The whole mission here, again, is to help you and your team get the most value out of GUIDEcx, but not just that. We take it a step further. We also cover industry best practices. So you'll notice that there's a lot of thought leadership in there, but as well, there's going to be a lot of GUIDEcx best practices in there. And so the way you get there is in-app. You'll just mosey on over, click on the support buoy down here on the bottom left corner, and you'll see here that we have Guide University, our community, and our knowledge base. But we'll focus on community today. And then you will need to create a login. We don't automatically do that for you. So you'll just click up here, and then you'll be able to create a sign in. If you have a Google account or a Gmail, you'll be able to do it in a couple of clicks. But let me go back here. So the top 3 things that you guys need to hear and you need to know are first, whoops, spoiler alert. All right. So every single week we do a question of the week and a live stream. And so this is on our homepage. As soon as you get dropped off in the community, you'll see what we're talking about. You'll be able to chime in. So you'll click here and you'll be able to see what the question of the week is. This week, we're talking about effective change management strategies and onboarding. You'll be able to weigh in. You can share your challenges. You can share your questions, things that come to your mind. Maybe you have a couple of tips and tricks up your sleeve that you want to share with the broader community. So this is more along the thought leadership side. But yeah, once you've chimed in there, every Thursday, and I linked to it in that question of the week, we have a live stream, which is essentially, it's like a more casual webinar where I sit down with a couple of community members and we talk about the question of the week, just in person. And so this week we got a number of people showing up. But yeah, it's a chance for you to tune in. You don't have to come in and contribute. You can just sit down and work on other stuff while you listen to it, like a show or a podcast. It is a lot more casual. So come on, come all, you're all invited. The other thing I want to go over is posting best practices. So while you're in the community, you might have a couple questions that you want answered, or you might come across something that, hey, I just discovered this new workaround within GUIDEcx that I feel like everyone needs to hear about. All you have to do is click on create posts on the top right. Again, you do have to be logged in to be able to do this, but you'll be able to come in. You can ask a question. So if you have a question that like you're looking for a specific answer, you can post that kind of, create that kind of post. There's also conversation. This is more for, hey, I just want to get an idea of what other people are doing in the industry with GUIDEcx. So if you are, I know Will, I think he's on the call still, but he posted a great question the other day about, hey, who else is using GUIDEcx for their ProServe teams? And hopefully we'll get some customers chatting in with him and get them connected that way. And then we also have this new third option, which is ideas. This is more along the lines of, hey, I have a really specific need or a feature request that I'd like to make to the GUIDEcx product team. So Cameron, Phil, Chris, and Cody, they'll be able to answer those. And you can kind of, we're introducing this this grassroots approach where you can get other people to upvote your ideas. You can see what we're researching, what's in development. So feel free to go share your product feedback here. Again, yeah, there's a shortcut on the top nav bar. You can see exactly what's being worked on, what's being planned, what's being researched and whatnot. You can upvote, you can click into it to read more. You can comment on it. One benefit to this is you'll now be able to track your requests. Before, you would submit product feedback in-app, and that was amazing and great. But there wasn't a way for you to track that. So, and then finally, GUIDEcx ins and outs. We do have a section dedicated to GUIDEcx users. So if you have questions about Recipe Builder, if you want to share tips and tricks or read about tips and tricks, if you have a question about the product, if you want to read about the announcements, feel free to go check out this channel. We also have, if you want to go tune into our awesome master classes, you can come in here and you can check out the events. And so you'll see customers only. So yeah, if you're a customer, you can go check out our GUIDEcx master classes. So, but yeah, that's everything you need to know about community. Please go in and join. I'll be the first to welcome you, I promise. But yeah, we're super excited to get that launched.
Thanks so much, Elon. We are excited too. A couple of comments that come through. Jill, no, we want all of your feedback. So continue to give it. And Will, we agree that Kim's masterclasses are the best. If you don't know Kim, join a class and you will come out so much smarter than when you joined. We also have, Elon, will you reshare your screen just for that webinar? Just one quick plug that we are excited about a webinar that we're hosting with Forrester in September and wanted to let you guys know about it first, how customer onboarding improves trust by accelerating time to value. So Sherry from Forrester will be on talking about accelerating your adoption, building relationships of trust, and then realizing value sooner. So you'll see some communication come out from us, and there's a link to also to register in the chat. Sorry, we're a bit over. We'll send out a recording of this. You can share with your teams. Thank you all for being on. We'll see you next month, and we so appreciate you and your feedback and your willingness to work with us as we continue to improve the product. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you later.
Thanks, everybody.